Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I am Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell.
Hey, we're talking about maintaining the house and cleaning the house. So we're both married, right?
Uh-huh.
So how do you divide it up at your house with you and your husband?
So my husband is more of the tidier, the picker-upper person, and
okay.
I'm more of the let's get in there with chemicals and
Yes.
clean everything and get germs out of the house.
Yes.
How about you guys?
So you have the little ones, so that there's constantly.
Oh, it's a constant battle.
I mean, you're picking up toys and
Yeah.
clothes and leftover, wrappers.
all of the things.
Yeah, and so you're the kind of like the deep cleaning person, then, right?
And I will let the messy toys slide.
Yeah.
I can let that go. The playroom is the playroom, whatever. And my husband's more the guy who's like, oh, we need to get this stuff all picked up. This
Yeah.
is clutter. I need it out of here.
Yes.
And then once a month, I'm like, get all the germs out of this house.
I think that may be a guy thing because I remember when we had young kids who were now adults, but I would come home and I would just break out in hives. We've got to clean this up. And I'm, going around cleaning things up. I mean, not clean, but picking up.
Picking up. Can I tell you about something I had to clean last night that was something I never anticipated?
Oh, boy.
So my 3-year-old was left alone for about 6 minutes while I was with the baby. And in those 6 minutes, she found hand lotion.
Oh.
And she put hand lotion all over one of our cats. And then our cat started running around the house covered in hand lotion.
That is great.
It was as messy as it sounds.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Well, she thought, she thought she was doing. Hey, listen,
I don't know what she thought.
I'm gonna grease this cat up.
Yeah, I don't know what she thought, but we had hand lotion
Oh,
everywhere. And the poor cat was just looking at me like, what happened? How did we get here?
And the cat's like, do not leave that child alone for 6 minutes again.
Not allowed.
Oh, geez.
Not allowed.
Oh boy. Yeah, in our house we've got my wife came up with this rule, and we share. I hate to say it's called chores. I hate to call it chores, but we share responsibilities. So I probably do a load of laundry. It's just the two of us at the house, but it's at least every other day. If not sometimes every day, just because I want to stay on top of it.
Stay on top of it, absolutely. Who wants the pile?
I don't like looking at piles of dirty laundry that need to be cleaned.
I understand that.
But yeah, she has a nice little guideline. Do a chore every day. So then that way you're not bombarded on your 2 days off. In our case, it would be weekends, right?
Yeah.
So one day, clean all the bathrooms. That's done. Another day, if you have carpet, vacuum. You're done.
I love it.
If you have tile floors, use another day to tackle the tile floors.
Staying on top of all of it.
Dirty sheets, use one day to clean the dirty sheets and put new ones on. So it's in that way you're not really tasked with an overwhelming
that cleaning day is just the worst if you get to that point.
And it's not only cleaning, we're talking about maintaining. When I'm talking about maintaining, changing the filters in your heater or air conditioner. So a lot of people, they just put things off, whether it's maintaining or cleaning.
Uh-oh.
And we're talking to Natalie Iannello from Front Door. And Front Door put out a little survey or some information on this. And before we get to that, Natalie, first of all, thank you for joining us. You're on the On Your Side podcast from Raleigh, North Carolina. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. Listen, how do you maintain and clean your house? Is it by yourself? Do you have any rule of thumb?
Well, for me personally, I live on my own, so I'm cleaning up after my dog quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting that our study found people spend an average of 5 hours and 20 minutes a week on cleaning their homes. So if you're like me and you save that all for Saturday, it's really cutting into your recharging time, and that can cause burnout.
Do you like the idea of doing one chore a day, like one day cleaning all the bathrooms, another day vacuuming carpets? Do you like that? It seems like it would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to prevent burnout. Some people keep schedules so that they know what to do. I have a schedule on my refrigerator, which sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I usually end up saving it for the weekend anyways, but that's a really good way to stay on top of things.
Absolutely.
I know your survey said about 5.5 hours of work a week. That seems like such a low estimate to me. I feel like people are underestimating or underselling how much work they actually do.
Because they're not doing it, probably.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe I need to relax a little more.
Right.
Because 5.5 hours does not cover it for me.
You live in a spectacular, clean,
No,
very
I
clean
don't.
house.
I just am hanging on for dear life, hoping that it's not a disaster.
I think the latest survey here, Natalie, 54% of Americans feel burned out by home maintenance. Now, we got cleaning going on. We have maintenance going on. So half of Americans feel burned out by home maintenance. Now, tell me about home maintenance. What's defined as home maintenance?
So home maintenance, there's kind of two sides of the coin. One is the cleaning and the chores, which we were talking about. And the other is going to be more of maintaining your home appliances. So things like scheduling your regular HVAC maintenance, changing out your filters, things like that.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that people aren't doing that they're kind of putting off or forgetting about or not even realizing that they need to do in their homes?
Yeah, so some of the top things people are skipping is going to be their microwave grease filters. We have 83% of people not changing those, and 77% did not even know that they exist.
I'm going to stop you right there. Gary, have you ever changed out a microwave grease filter?
I would like to say yes, I have.
But you cannot
but
say that?
No, I cannot say that. But as soon as this podcast is over, that's on my to-do list when I get home.
Find that microwave grease filter.
I'm going to Amazon. I'm buying one. It's going to be delivered, and I'm going to install it. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I haven't either.
Did you know it had a grease filter?
No.
Really?
I didn't.
Maybe Steve is changing it, and you don't
so.
and you don't even know.
Maybe he is pretty handy, so maybe it's all perfect. I don't know.
It may be better than you think. What else are we doing here on maintaining? What are we doing? Maybe not enough, and what are we not even doing at all that we should be doing when it comes to maintaining?
Yeah, so one of the big things is also cleaning your washing machine drain. That can give you some more longevity with your washing machine. Almost 50% of people skip that. Another one is nearly half skip their HVAC tune-ups, which we talked about earlier. And most of them do so because they don't want to pay for it.
Sure.
Now, that's an issue that can bite you down the road because a replacement can be thousands of dollars.
Let me just tell I'll add on the HVAC checkup. I mean, those are good, I guess. But there always seems to be an upsell once the guy gets there. Oh, your HVAC looks great. You're going to have nice, cool, air conditioning for when it's 110 here in Arizona. But if you'd like, we could put you on this membership for $250 a year to do blah, 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 blah. I just kind of feel like it's a way to get out there, just to kind of, get you to sign up for something.
Well, and I guess that's where it comes in from finding somebody that you really know and really trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an auto mechanic, right?
Yeah.
These are things that maybe you're not an expert at. I don't know anything about HVAC except that I need it to be cool in my house in the summer, right? So you do have to go out of your way to find those people that you trust. So when they do say, hey, you got to do this, or we need to charge you for XYZ, you can say, I understand why this is happening, and I trust that it is something that I need.
There's an old saying, and I know you've heard this before: if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
Don't even fix it. Yeah. So my AC guy is coming out when it breaks.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
whatever.
How about the washing machine? Do you do work to maintain that?
No, in fact, there's a little decal on. I have a Whirlpool, and it says make sure you use some certain brand of whatever soap or whatever to keep it clean. But I haven't used that yet. But cleaning your washing machine, very important. What do you know about that, Natalie?
Well, a lot of them these days have those self-cleaning modes, so that's helpful. So on top of just cleaning out the inside, making sure you're not getting mold in there, you also want to clean the drain. Those are kind of the two key things you need to take care of to give it longevity.
Yeah, on those front-loading washers, I know you really have to keep the rubber seal dried because it will mold and it will start to smell. The kitchen sink, I was reading through the survey, people are pouring grease down the kitchen sink.
Don't do that, guys.
Why? Tell me why, Natalie?
I would say maybe that's a bad habit you picked up as a renter before you owned your home. It's just so much easier. So 1 in 5 are pouring grease down the drain, and of those people, 64% confess that it was due to laziness.
Oh, you know what
Just a
you do?
habit.
Listen, if you have grease, that means you're cooking some kind of some kind of a meat or meal or
Yeah.
something, and you're most likely going to have a canned good with that. I would imagine. Just pour it in a can, right?
Yeah. You know what we use like a pasta sauce glass
Yes.
container.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep it under the kitchen sink,
Sure.
sealed,
Right.
and when it fills up, throw it out.
Yeah. Or I mean, if you really have to, put it in the can, like I said, and then just put it in the refrigerator, and
Right then.
it solidifies,
Yep.
and just toss it.
Because my goodness, that stuff can clog up pipes so
Yeah.
fast. Just think of how it solidifies just even in the pan, and then imagine that in your pipes.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Oh gosh. How much is it actually costing us when we are not keeping up on the maintenance that we need to?
So the average cost of repairs from people that damaged their home due to these irresponsible behaviors was $840. So something like a garbage disposal might be a couple hundred, especially if you do it yourself. But again, that big one is the HVAC replacement. That can be thousands of dollars. So pretty big range there.
Natalie scared me. She called it irresponsible behaviors.
Well, that's you.
That's-
You don't know what a microwave grease trap is.
that is irresponsible
It's
on my behalf.
We all could get a little bit better about this. You do have the spring cleaning checklist. Let's just walk through it real fast. What can we do so maybe we don't end up with some of those extra costs?
Yeah, so there's plenty of things you can do on your own. That would be like cleaning your gutters, washing your windows, power washing the exteriors, trimming your trees and bushes, testing your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, and replacing all of your filters on all of your appliances. And then there's plenty of things that you should outsource if you're not feeling comfortable on your own. So that would be like a roof inspection, pest control, plumbing inspections is a big one too. So your pipes don't get clogged and cause issues, and then chimney cleaning and inspections.
Yeah, welcome to home ownership, because if you're a first-time home buyer, I mean, these are things that come along with it. Gone are the days if you're renting a home and you have your landscaping taken care of, or any kind of plumbing issues, the landlord's not going to be around. These are now on your head that you have to stay, on top of to avoid any problems.
And as a person who had a giant leak in my house because of a roof that got really old, I can tell you do not want to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like you don't want to go searching for problems until it happens. I mean, why hire a roofer to come out when you don't really have a leak, and then it's going to be $15,000 for a new.
Then all of a sudden you got a leak.
Well, then you have to do it.
I know.
Natalie, you mentioned about changing filters in certain things. That's always a wise idea. But I tell you what, the water filter on refrigerators are very expensive. I hate when my light goes on. I'm like, ugh, here goes another $50.
You need to buy in bulk. Get a
Ugh.
discount.
Well, is that what you do?
No, that's another one of the Steve projects.
Yes, I do the air condition filters. I buy in bulk.
Yeah.
I try to buy like 3 or 6 at a time. And
How often do you change those for you?
Well,
for your house?
During the wintertime, not a lot, because heat's really not on, and certainly during the spring it's not really running. But in the summertime, when we have 110 around here, I'm changing it at least every 6 weeks, but usually like once a month.
Yeah,
at
we
least.
do once a month.
And that's another thing too about the air filter. Some people like, oh yeah, the one where it's like it won't let anything in. It's like it's like having a towel up there. But then that makes it very hard for your air conditioning unit to breathe.
Yeah.
So you got to have a happy medium. I have a very gross story.
Oh, no.
That I want to share with
boy.
with you and Natalie.
Do we want to hear it?
Well, it has to do with maintenance.
Okay.
Okay. So my shower,
Oh, I hate where this is going already.
you know where it's going. Yeah, my shower
Oh,
had a slow drain to it. And, credit to my wife, she got some Drano and put it down there. I'm like, good. Didn't work.
Oh no.
So you know what I had to do.
Ugh, that's the worst
Yeah.
job in the world.
Oh, it was
It's the worst job.
Well, there's I'm like, because I don't do well with hair. But there's this.
We're sorry to anybody who's listening to this while they're having their breakfast.
There's a tool. It's about, I don't know, 13, 14 inches, maybe 15 inches long, and it's plastic, and it has like these little spikes that come on the side, and you just run that sucker down the drain, and then what you pull up is...
It does it for you. At least. You can keep your eyes to the other side.
You got to get rid of it. That's a job that I don't like doing.
And then your shower worked like a dream.
Oh, man. Yeah, water was draining right down. Yeah, so forget Drano. Do it with the little apparatus.
Yikes.
Hey, anything else on this survey or research we didn't talk about that you want to get out there, Natalie?
Just one final thing. I know we talked about kind of the cost of not keeping up with things in terms of having things break and paying more money to repair, but just remember to take care of your health, especially with those filters. They're filtering out allergens and mold and bacteria. So changing your refrigerator filter regularly is really important for your health and well-being. So keep that in mind.
Despite the expense, like me.
It's worth it.
So listen, you're with Front Door, and Front Door put this survey and research out there, and we appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about Front Door so our listeners and viewers know.
Yeah, so Front Door is a home maintenance app. It helps homeowners fix issues all on their own, but with the guidance of professionals over video chat. So it kind of hits a sweet spot between doing it on your own and then hiring a handyman.
Okay, very good. All right, listen, I appreciate that. And I guess if people want to know more about Front Door, any websites or social media accounts?
You can go to frontdoor.com to learn more.
Oh, very easy. All right, Natalie, thanks for joining us. It was a great conversation with the exception of my shower drainage. But listen, it's part of the topic we're talking about.
Is your wife going to forgive you for bringing that up?
I don't know.
I imagine it was her hair.
Yes, it was.
Yes. I'm looking at the top of your head and thinking you probably didn't clog a shower with your hair.
My hair is not going to. Yeah, I know. Well, now she's really going to be mad at me because it is her fault. All right, Natalie. Hey, thanks so much for being on the On Your Side podcast. We appreciate you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You guys have a great day too.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton, and I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock. And every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.